Hello fellow addicts, this is Eric coming at you today. Today I'm going to go over algae. It's a common problem and most people have in their tanks. It is a pain in the butt to deal with and it's going to be a reoccurring problem. There are several reasons why we get algae. There's multiple types of algae. Today I'm going to go over chemical and mechanical ways to remove algae. First off, usually when I have a customer come into me and they have a problem with algae, I try to diagnose what type of algae is it. Is it a hair algae, a string algae, a black beard algae? Is the water's turning green, or is it just brown or green algae just growing all over the glass and ornaments? I always try to lead with, first let's figure out what the problem is before we just band-aid a problem. So I'll start off with, how many hours do you have your lights on for an aquarium? Ideally, any more than 8 hours a day, you're actually going to give yourself more work. The longer the lights are on, the more algae is going to grow. It is a growing plant, so it does require oxygen and it requires light. If you check for your nitrates or phosphates, these are very important in an aquarium. High levels, it is a fertilizer. So if you are having algae problems, the first thing I do is tell people check your nitrate, check your phosphate. How do you do that? Simple test kits. This is just an API, very basic, simple test. These will tell you where your levels are. You want to try to keep these levels under check, and that will actually help reduce the amount of cleaning you're going to have to do. If you test your water and you do have high nitrate or high phosphate, there are several methods you can do to get these numbers down. One, basic simple water changes. Dilution, dilute it down. I recommend 25% every 7 to 10 days. You can move that a little bit up, a little bit down, but around there is an easy number to work with. If that's not working for you, you can actually get products that will help fight these issues. Like for nitrate, for example, I've got just a couple sample things. There's many more on the market. You have a nitrate pad. These pads are just simply, they can be cut out to fit inside any type of filter. You replace them every 30 days. There's another product from Seachem called Nitrate that goes inside your filter. Mechanical filtration will definitely help lower the nitrates, but that's if you can't get it under control of water. Now, when it comes to phosphates, there's also a phosphate pad. The same idea. It's a chemical and mechanical way of removing the phosphate in your water, which is going to help slow down that algae. Another great product, locally made by Fosdown. This stuff works like a hot damn. Whether it's freshwater or saltwater, it works absolutely amazing. Then we got another product that's on the market. This is more geared towards the saltwater tanks by Red Sea. You're dealing with a top-of-the-line company, a great product, but this will actually move nitrate and Fosdown. It's called Nopox, or that's how we pronounce it anyway. This stuff is the cat's ass of products out there for to deal with both things. Another algae we have to watch out for is what I find very common. It's called black beard algae. And I know some of you guys right now are just taking a big sigh as soon as I say that word, because it's very common in planted tanks and in a lot of tanks in general, and it's a nightmare to deal with. There are some fish, but we're not going to cover those today in this video. This is going to be more of mechanical, chemical, not actual natural ways of doing it. Seachem made a product out there called Fluor 6L, which is actually a liquid carbon. It's basically used instead of CO2 dosing your tank. You can do it this way. It was never created to deal with blackbeard algae. However, a beautiful side effect of this product is that it will annihilate blackbeard algae, BBA. All you have to, I always recommend double the dosage, what it says on the back. Either dose twice as frequently or twice as much, and it will slowly, you'll just see the blackbeard algae deteriorate. So that's another great product that we sell, and we sell a ton of this because it seems to be a very common problem. Now, when it comes to green water, usually a lot of times with green water is definitely too many hours of light or too much in a well-lit room. Try to keep your aquariums away from windows or a very well-lit room. It doesn't have to get direct sunlight on it, but if it does, you're going to be really stuck with a lot of work. When it comes to moving that, there's a couple ways you can do it. First of all, I always recommend if you get your nitrates, phosphates down, because that will just make it bloom even more. You have the UV sterilizer. This is the green machine. We sell a ton of these. This one's up to a 20-gallon tank. Basically, it has an ultraviolet bulb inside of it. This whole thing comes with the pump and everything. It just sits inside your tank. As water goes through it, the UV bulb will kill all these little floating algae particles and any other parasites or anything else that goes past it. This is more of the more expensive way of doing it, but it's probably one of the most thorough ways of doing it. Bulb will last you about 1 year if you're running it 24/7. I usually recommend people like run it for a couple weeks, whatever you need. Then turn it off. Make a note in your phone of how long you ran it for. That way you know what the bulb is going to last you a lot longer. Another cheaper way of doing it, you can do it this way. I picked Clarity because it's my #1 clarifier, and just some wool, angle hair, whatever you want to call it, from old school days. So basically what we do with this, I tell people to take this stuff, stuff it in your filter, make a very tight filter, then hit it with Clarity. How Clarity works is it makes small particles quadrant. They jump together and they stick like a magnet basically, and then they become big. So two things will happen. Once all these particles stick together, they'll either get heavy and they'll sink to the bottom in your gravel bed, or they'll get big enough that it'll get caught by the particles, the filter media in your filter. After you've used this, I recommend doing a gravel clean to pull all that stuff that's fallen into your substrate. So that's two ways to deal with that one. Very, very simple, very basic, but a lot of it comes down to the numbers of hours of light or how much light it's getting, nitrates and phosphates, because those two things are just pushing like fertilizer. And if anybody's owned a lawn, they know what they're dealing with when they fertilize their lawn. For the next couple of weeks, it just goes crazy. The same thing will happen in a tank. I think I've pretty much covered everything. Now I got one more product. It's an off topic, but it gets sucked into this area a lot of times with us, and it's called cyanobacteria. In freshwater, it's usually a greenish blue. In saltwater, it's kind of more of a reddish purple. There's a product out there called ChemiClean. Now, before I go a little further actually about this product, cyanobacteria is not an algae. It looks very much like an algae. It's just, it creates this filmy coating over everything, and it will cover everything within days. It is disgusting. It is a nightmare to deal with. It's a bacteria that will feed off the lighting. It'll feed off the nutrients in the water, the phosphate, nitrates. This is probably one of the best products that I know to get rid of it, but it will actually create like a sheet, and you can go in and you can clean it all off, and you get up tomorrow morning and it's covered in it again. And that's usually when you know you're dealing with cyano, lots of little bubbles in it and stuff. So even though this is not an algae, it is something that commonly people get confused with when they come in and they're trying to beat this down. So hopefully, you know what, I've covered a little bit of basics today. We will go into another video about the different animals that can help fight some of these problems. But most of it is, it's just the amount of light you're getting. You know what? Put a timer on your lights. If you're not home to watch your fish, leave the lights off. There's enough light in your room, ambient light, to keep the fish totally happy. And if you're doing corals or a really heavily live planted tank, then like I said, put it on the timer. It'll only come on when you're there to enjoy it. The rest of the time, leave the lights off. It's going to make less work for you. That makes more time of you enjoying your fish. So this is all I got to say for today. This is Eric, and you guys have a great day. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. See you tomorrow.